Welcome back to Turkish Stars Explained, the channel where we break down the biggest headlines about Turkish stars going global and separate what's real, what's hype, and what the numbers actually mean. Today we're tackling the loudest phrase you keep seeing attached to Sandokan. Sandokan just broke a major TV record. It sounds huge. It sounds historic. It sounds like the kind of headline that instantly turns into, Jaan Yaman is unstoppable. But here's the real question we're answering in this video. When people say record, what do they actually mean? A record in Italy? A record on a channel? A record on streaming? A record for an actor? A record for a time slot? A record for a genre? Because in entertainment, the same word can mean 10 different things, and only one of them might truly matter for Jaan Yaman's international momentum. So, let's do this the smart way. We're going to map out the different kinds of records, how these claims usually get created, what numbers would actually prove them, and then, most importantly, what this could realistically mean for Jaan Yaman going forward. And yes, we'll also talk about the part nobody wants to admit. Sometimes a record headline is technically true and still misleading. Let's get into it. First, why are record headlines everywhere right now? Because premieres are the easiest moment to create a story. A premiere is when marketing is at its peak, curiosity is at its peak, and social media is watching closely. That's the perfect recipe for big claims, and in most cases, those claims are based on one of these things. A spike in viewership, a spike in online searches, a spike in press coverage, or a ranking screenshot that looks impressive. And none of those are automatically fake. But they're also not automatically proof that the show dominated the country. So before we decide whether Sandokan truly broke a major record, we need to define what record could even mean in 2025. There are two big worlds here: broadcast TV metrics and streaming platform metrics. They overlap sometimes, but they are not the same game. Broadcast TV is measured in things like average audience, share, and time slot competition. It answers questions like, how many people watch live? What percentage of the audience chose this show over other channels at the same time? Did it grow or drop episode by episode? Did it hold strong against major competition? Streaming, on the other hand, is measured in rankings, hours watched, completion rates, and regional performance. It answers questions like, did people click it? Did they keep watching? Did they finish episodes? Did it trend in multiple countries? Did it become a sticky title that platforms promote more? Now here's where it gets tricky. A headline can be true inside one of these worlds and still sound like it means something bigger. For example, record on the channel is not the same as record in the country. Record for this year is not the same as all-time record. Record premiere is not the same as record season. Record online engagement is not the same as record viewership. So when you see major TV record, you should instantly ask, which record category are we talking about? Let's break down the most common ones. Record type number 1, the time slot record. This is when a show performs exceptionally well compared to what usually airs at that exact time on that channel. This is one of the most common record headlines because it's easy to frame. If the channel's typical audience at that time is lower and the premiere spikes higher, you can say, best performance in this time slot in years. Best premiere for the time slot. Highest share for this slot since. That can be impressive, but it mainly proves one thing. The channel got a strong night. It doesn't automatically mean the show changed the entire industry. It means the show won its lane. Record type number 2, the network record. This is when a show becomes one of the strongest premieres or episodes in that channel's recent history. Again, this can be real. It can be meaningful. But the question is the channel a major national giant or a smaller network? Are we comparing against a strong year or a weak year? Are we comparing primetime drama to everything, including sports, reality, and special events? Because a network record can sometimes just mean, this is the best drama premiere we've had lately. That's still good news, but you don't want to confuse it with, this is the biggest show in the country. Record type number 3, the genre record. This is where headlines get really slippery. Best pirate adventure series premiere. Best action adventure series performance. Best International Reboot Debut. The more words you add, the easier it becomes to claim a record. And look, I'm not saying that's dishonest by default. It's just how PR works. A genre record can still mean this show is performing above expectations for this category. But it's not always the kind of record that predicts global domination. Record type number 4. The platform trending record. This is the streaming era favorite. You'll see. Top trending on Prime Video. #1 on Prime Video. Top 10 in X countries. Now, trending and ranking are absolutely important, but they have context. Rankings can be regional. Rankings can be influenced by promotion placement. Rankings can spike from curiosity and drop quickly if audiences don't stick. So the real question is not only, did it trend? The real question is, did it stay trending? Because staying power is what platforms love. That's what turns a title from a moment into a machine. Record type number 5. The engagement record. This is the social media record. Search spikes. #volume. Trailer views. Reaction clips. Fan edits. Engagement matters a lot for visibility. It can push the algorithm. It can attract new viewers. But it doesn't always translate into long-term viewership. Sometimes engagement is loud because the fan base is active, not because the mainstream audience is massive. And with Jaan Yaman, this is especially important to understand. His fan base is one of the most engaged and international communities around. That can create a real wave, but it can also create headlines that sound bigger than the actual viewership numbers. So, where does that leave us? It leaves us with a simple rule. A record headline is not a conclusion. It's a clue. It tells you something spiked. Your job is to figure out what spiked and whether it's the kind of spike that changes careers. Now, let's talk about what would actually prove a major TV record in the strongest sense. If Sandokan truly broke a major record, the strongest version of that claim would usually involve a clear metric, a clear comparison period, a credible context. For example, highest premiere audience for the network in X years. Highest share in that time slot since X. Best series debut of the season across comparable titles. And ideally, it would be followed by the second question. What happened next episode? Because one night can be curiosity. 2 or 3 nights in a row, that's momentum. This is why, when you see record headlines, you should watch for these follow-up signals. Signal number 1. Week-to-week stability. If the show doesn't collapse after the premiere, that's a very strong sign. Signal number 2. Platform continuation. If the show stays ranked, stays promoted, stays discussed internationally, that's another strong sign. Signal number 3. Expansion beyond the core fanbase. If neutral audiences start discussing it, not just fans, that's when the project becomes bigger than the celebrity. Now, let's connect this back to Jaan Yaman. Because ultimately, the reason this matters is not just is the show big. It's, does this push Jaan Yaman's global positioning forward? And Sandokan is a special case because it's not just another project. It's a brand reboot. When you attach yourself to a reboot of a known property, you're signing up for 2 things at once. You get built-in attention, and you also get built-in expectations. A reboot means people arrive ready to compare, ready to judge, ready to debate whether it respects the legacy. And that can be great for visibility if the show delivers. So if the record headlines are even partially backed by solid numbers, it signals something important. Sandokan isn't just being watched, it's being treated like an event. And event perception is career fuel. Because casting and financing decisions respond to one thing more than anything else. Proof that you can attract attention at scale. Now, there's another layer here that people often miss. International success is rarely one giant leap. It's usually a ladder. The ladder looks like this. Step 1. Strong performance in the home market. Step 2. Regional export success. Step 3. Platform visibility in larger markets. Step 4. Consistent international casting. Step 5. A breakout role in the biggest market. What Sandokan can do for Jaan Yaman is help him climb multiple steps at once. If the show becomes a recognizable title beyond Italy, If it gains streaming traction, that creates more press, more invitations, more meeting rooms opening. And here's the part that's actually practical. Even if Sandokan doesn't become a worldwide mega hit, it can still be a perfect industry signal. Because industry people don't only care about massive hits. They care about reliability, marketability, international appeal, fan engagement, and the ability to lead a high-production project. So when you see record headlines, there are two ways to interpret them. The fan interpretation is, he's the biggest star alive. The industry interpretation is, this person can carry a major franchise-level project. And that second interpretation is the one that matters for career trajectory. Now, let's talk about the danger zone, when a record headline is technically true but still misleading. This happens when the record is based on a narrow category, the comparison is cherry-picked, or the headline implies national domination without evidence. For example, a headline might say, Sandokan breaks a major record. But the actual meaning might be, best debut for this network's drama in 2 seasons. That's still good, but it's not historic across all TV. Or the headline might be, Sandokan dominates prime time. But the real data might show, it performed well, but multiple shows were competitive. Again, not bad, just different from the dramatic claim. This is why I always tell you, treat headlines like trailers. They're designed to trigger emotion. Your job is to look for structure. So here's the best way to talk about Sandokan's record story, without overselling and without underselling. Sandokan appears to be having a strong launch that's generating high visibility and strong early performance signals. The real test is whether it holds audience and continues trending beyond the premiere wave. That's the honest version. And now, the big question. Should your channel keep focusing on Sandokan? Based on your own analytics, yes, but with smarter variety. Because your channel is building topic authority right now. When YouTube sees that viewers who clicked one Sandokan/Jaan Yaman video also click another, it starts building a recommendation pathway. And your screenshot shows it clearly. Sandokan videos are pulling far more views than the non-Sandokan ones. So the move is not to abandon Sandokan, the move is to evolve the angles. Here are 3 high-performing angles you can rotate to avoid repetition. Angle A. Debunk/explain. Record claims, rankings, what terms mean, how platform listings work. Angle B. Strategy/career. What this means for Jaan Yaman's next roles, his positioning, his brand strategy. Angle C. Comparison/legacy. Reboot versus original. Audience expectations. Why reboots succeed or fail. Each of these keeps you inside the Sandokan wave, but makes every video feel fresh. So what should you watch next? Watch for if the show continues to rank. If the press keeps writing about it after the premiere week. If international outlets pick it up. If audiences talk about story quality, not just Jaan Yaman. Because when the conversation shifts from look at Jaan Yaman to this show is actually good, that's when you get true expansion. And here's my prediction framework, not a guarantee, just a realistic lens. If Sandokan sustains performance signals for multiple weeks, it becomes a strong proof project for Jaan Yaman internationally. Even without a worldwide breakout, it can strengthen his profile as a franchise lead and open doors for bigger cross-market casting. That's why this record conversation matters. Not because we need to worship a headline, but because we're watching a career moment develop in real time. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think these record headlines are real? Or is it mostly hype? And what would you consider a true record? Time slot, network, streaming, or international reach? Drop your take in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, it helps more than you think. And for more videos breaking down Turkish stars going global, subscribe and turn on notifications because the next few weeks are going to be very interesting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.